spoke about it.
Well, I can cut it out, but yeah. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm just gonna pretend that I've called you, and then we'll just go from there. So like, 3,
Okay.
2, 1. Hey, Alex, how you doing, mate?
Hi, Jace. You all right? Good, thank you.
Pretty good. All right, let's jump straight in. So, why don't you just start by telling people how this all started for you and what you kind of went through?
Yeah, sure. So it was about 2 years ago now. I sort of broke down playing in a football game. Like my leg just gave way, my groin, and like I was in this worst pain ever. It's like someone was stabbing me in the leg. And for like 6 months, I would try and train and come back playing, but I'd kept my body just kept breaking down on me, my groin. So I went to the hospital, had an MRI, like anybody would, see what's going on. Nothing came up. Again, I'd try and go back and play football, wouldn't work. So again, I had a CT. I had a CT scan, and again, nothing came up there. And then I was speaking to my hip surgeon at the hospital and said that, well, he said to me that I might not be able to play football again. Your body might not be able to take it, and I just completely disregarded what he said. I was upset. I was like, no, you can't tell me that I can't play my passion that I've played since I was 5 years old at like a good level. So I went away, ignored what he said. Then I went private to a different hospital and in Norwich, in our city, our local city. And I had this dye put into me, went through the CT scan, and then that's when it came up with Osteitis Pubis. So where obviously the pubic bone has been worn away, eroded a bit from the cartilage. So at least I had an answer there, and this was like a year down the line. Then, went back to work, and I was in pain a lot at work, being a PE teacher, having to bend down and things and move around. So I took a month off work because the pain was so bad in my right hip and my back, right side of the lower back, sorry. And I was just searching around online, Osteitis Pubis, how to rehab it, because I've been to so many physios within the area and the hospital, they didn't know how to rehab it. So that's when I found you. And I had a consultation with you, and that was in December 2018. I remember it was Boxing Day, I think. Yeah, I think, or maybe a day after that. And yeah, it was like a godsend because we were getting somewhere to figuring out what was wrong with me due to your help. And then I think it was January the 1st, 2019 was my first video consultation with you. And then since then, for 6 months, we had numerous calls and we went through the rehab program. And by July 2019, so that was the start of my football season, I was back playing. So yeah, that's the story.
Dive in and tell us, like, the back. I think sometimes what people like get a little confused is like the back, how connected your back was to everything as well. Because like I can remember half the time we weren't dealing with your groin being sore. It was like we would do stuff, like we would try to do stuff, and your back would get sore from it, kind of thing. Like, just describe to people like how you feel with your back relative to your OP and how it's like how you think about it in terms of like the connection between the two.
Well. So the right side of my back, like around my SI joint, around the QL there, yeah, well, the pain was not very nice. Just constant throbbing, like chronic pain. And then when the back turned on, that meant that the hip turned on as well, which would usually be the case. And yeah, the case would be that it would be the back first, before the groin. And yeah, obviously through your exercises of slow and controlled deadlifts, split leg deadlifts, a lot of the things where you have to plant your feet and do it nice and controlled. over time, over many months, it got better and stronger, and the pain relief sort of subsided. Like I wouldn't at the start, the pain would be like constant for days, weeks. But then once my body got used to the exercises, the pain reduced. I'll be honest, I still get it sometimes now, but because of the program that I've been through with you and the hard work that I've put in, I know what to do to counteract the pain. You know what I mean? So
I it's kind of really important. Two things there you're talking about. The first one is the idea that like, so your back goes and then your groin goes, right? So treating just like a groin problem, it's just like, it's kind of folly, right? Like you have to fix your back to fix your groin, you have to fix your groin to fix your back. They're the same problem, they're just hurting in different spots, but it's the same issue at the cause of it, right? Kind of thing. And then like that idea that it's kind of going, oh, okay, cool. Like I have to work through the pain, so not push into it, but like, you know, it hurt. And, you know, like you would go, you do some stuff, you get good at like an exercise. And then remember, like you do another exercise and it would start hurting again. Then we'd have to figure out why that new exercise would cause you pain. Then it'd take like another week to sort that out. And then it would stop hurting. And then like you'd do it again and then do it again. Except by the end of it, it was like there was nothing you couldn't do that wouldn't cause pain then. Like, because you'd like conquered everything. But it was like Groundhog Day over and over again. We had to just keep pushing into pain, not pushing into it, like working through it and figuring out what the solution was. Then that other is like, it's not over, right? Like it's never over. It's like, cool, now you're at like the top of the mountain, but you got to keep working to stay there. Like, you know, if you get too slack or too lazy, it kind of gets bad. And like, you know, you just sprained your ankle, right? Like it's really easy for like, if you don't rehab that ankle really strong, it'd be really easy for then your pelvis to start suffering again because the ankle's not giving you enough stability. So you'll have to do it again. You'll have to build yourself back up to the top of the mountain. You'll just have to do it with your ankle so that your ankle's strong enough to support your pelvis. I think like if it's probably hard to remember when you came into the process, but like sometimes when people come to me first, their focus is on their groin and their pubic bone. That's the problem. That's the issue. That's the broken bit. And it's that ability to switch your mindset to, no, my whole body is a machine and I just got to make sure the whole thing's running right. Like it's good to have like a really, really awesome, like, you know, pistons and then have like the cam and the camshaft like just absolutely shot and it doesn't work kind of thing. If your ankle's broken, your pelvis won't work. If your knee's broken, your pelvis won't work. You got to fix them all kind of thing. And just that idea. And like, you know, so even if you when you come into a session, you'd be like, groin feels fine, back hurts, like, cool, that doesn't matter. Like your back hurts, it's not good enough. Like you've got to figure that out kind of thing. What was I going to say? Talk to people a bit about like some of the hardest things, like some of the points where you were just really struggling and you just wanted to like kick a bucket kind of thing.
I would say sometimes no matter how many exercises I do and how hard I worked on that day in the gym, I'd still get the same pain. That was the hardest thing, I think, trying to like overcome that and just push through it and think like in the long run, if I keep going and doing the repetitions of these exercises, then it will get better. And after 6 months, it did. I'd say just push through and don't give up. Yeah.
And talk to people. Remember, like you would email me and it'd be like you'd be getting it and you wouldn't be able to like when you were at work, you wouldn't be able to like walk around and stuff, and it would get like
man, that was bad. Just from like bending down to pick some equipment up that I was setting up for the kids, and it would just set the back off. And then I remember ringing you one time, like early in the morning, you answered on WhatsApp. It's like, just go down. Every time you pick something up, just go down in a split leg deadlift position, engage your feet in the floor, shoulders back, feel your glutes slowly, and then pick it up. Like that was, and even that just helped. Like, it was crazy, but
I think what people don't realize sometimes coming into the condition is like you get a knee problem. Usually you get it sorted straight away, right? Like you get a knee problem, you go to physio. It might take a while, even a knee reconstruction, right? Like you tear the knee, but you get it sorted straight away. They go and have surgery straight away, right? Like it's instantaneous. what people don't realize they come into OP is like you're in such a deep hole because it's been getting worse because you don't know what it is. So it's just getting worse, getting worse, getting worse. That by the time you start digging yourself out, you're not like normal. You're like way below normal. So it's like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm in a lot of like, I'm having difficulty picking shit up off the ground. And it's like, oh, it's going to take me ages to dig myself out of that hole sometimes, kind of thing. And it's hard. I think where people really struggle in the middle of the program sometimes is that happens. They'll be feeling good, and then something happens. They feel really bad, and then they just kind of drop their bundle. They can't stay focused because it's like, oh, this hurts just like it hurt before, and like like how can I be better if it's still hurting? When really it's like it'll always be hurting if you're not moving right. So it's like you just have to accept that the pain is always lurking in the shadows, ready to jump back out. And so it's like, you just have to stay on top of it. It's kind of hard to stay on top of it if you're still in, like, you're in the mud. Like, it's fine now, you're on top of it. It's easy to stay on top of all the crap underneath you. But, like, right in the middle, it's hard to see the top. And then it's like, there's just like, it's like every exercise is hard. Every new exercise causes pain. Everything, it's like, you just get stuck in the mud. It can be so hard to dig out kind of thing. But once you get out, and it's the same with my back. Like, I would do stuff and I'd be fine. And then I'd go to like just bat in the nets and cricket and I'd be in agony for like 2 days. And it'd be like, I just ran 5Ks like 3 days ago. Why is this like just batting once caused all these problems? And it's because there was like a problem with my stance and stuff and I didn't realize it. And it was like, I just had to fix that up and it was fine. But it was like this constant feeling good. And just when you'd be confident again, I'd be like, something would knock me off and I'd be on my ass again.
Yeah, a little setback,
Yeah,
but then that's why you've got your stage of the program, because there's obviously some part within the program where you might need to do more of that. For example, pelvic floor release section with frog poses or single leg squats. Like you might have to do that before you can go on to the split leg stuff. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because like now automatically when something goes wrong with my back, I kind of know like what I need straight away. It's like, like we're in lockdown and like I got the weights, right? I brought the weights home from like my old clinic because it was like I wasn't doing any heavy lifting. So like it had been like 4 or 5 weeks and I was just like picking up like side of my knees hurting, my hips hurting. I'm like, why am I hurting? It's because I hadn't heavy lifted in ages. So like there were these like individual problems that were propping up and I'm trying to figure out what they are, but really it was just because I was missing strength across my whole body and I couldn't strengthen it. I think that's like at the start of the program, you do like all these like whole body things and you're like, well, why am I doing this? I've got a groin problem. Why am I doing a deadlift? And it's like, it's like for your whole body. People are like, oh, this strengthens my glutes. It's like, no, it's strengthening your whole body. It's just focusing on your glutes kind of thing. Whilst if you do a glute bridge, your glutes get really strong, but nothing else does. So then you're just as screwed as you were before with strong glutes. It's like, it's funny, like no one ever comes to me with a weak core. Like people like, it's like, you have OP because you have a weak core. It's like I've never had rarely ever a client comes to me the first time has a weak core. Because like they've all been doing planks and shit for so long before they had their first session that it's like they're totally fine with that. And then I make them do that test where they lift the hand up off the ground and then their pelvis is just like this. And it's like
comes straight out of place.
Yeah. And it's like all this strength is worth nothing at that point because it's like, you've been training this one way, but it hasn't actually translated to anything.
No, yeah.
What was I going to say? Any last thoughts that you want to leave people with before kind of signing off here? Just anything like any words of advice about tackling the program? Any thoughts as they're like, they're trying to deal with this themselves? Just kind of stuff that you can tell them now that you're on the other side of it.
I would just say to trust the process 100% because it's obviously worked for me and got me back to doing what I love, playing football. And if you have any down points or negative times, just always just think positive. I know that's easy to say, but just trust the program because Jason's program is amazing and it does wonders to the body, and he teaches you how to plant yourself in the ground and how to make sure that you're using the right muscles for the right exercises, which will benefit your and maintaining your OP in the long run. I'll just say trust the process and don't give up. They would be the main things. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, anyone who's watching this, hopefully you can take a little up. But yeah, thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Cheers, Jace.
As I say, yeah, that was awesome.